Hey, what's happening? It is the Salty Vet on a Sunday with a UFC recap. And holy shit. I've been watching UFC since UFC 1. And have seen almost every pay-per-view that they have shown, which is approaching 300. And as I was sitting there watching it last night, I really was sitting to try and think, had I seen a better pay-per-view with regard to how stacked the main card was, which the UFC seldom does anymore since they sold it. They do a lot of, because they're, I guess, required to put on X amount of shows a year. I mean, they damn near do one every weekend. A lot of times they will stack the top couple of fights. There's usually 5 fights per pay-per-view. They'll load up, it's top heavy, and then 3 fights are just like this would be a UFC fight night and it'd be good. But last night was fucking stacked, and I'm just gonna go ahead and call it the best card as far as design, and then the best fights top to bottom. I mean, they were all just amazing fights. Start at the bottom, Bo Nickel. That motherfucker can throw hands. I didn't see that one coming. The dude has been working on his stand-up. And I think because he understands, because he's a specialist, because he is one of the best wrestlers in the world, that if he finds somebody that can defensive wrestle, a la Chuck Liddell, maybe the best to ever do it, he's going to have a backup plan. Last night, holy shit, inside the first round, I mean, Val Woodward, I think was his name. Guy's built like a tank. He's 5'8", 185 pounds. Just a tank of a man. I mean, walked through him, and just, I mean, he wasn't even sweating. I'm like, Jesus, he didn't even have to wrestle. So keep your eye on that kid. I mean, if he can stand and bang, the middleweight division is in serious fucking trouble. I did not get to see Robbie Lawler's fight, even though it wasn't on pay-per-view, but I heard he starched Nico Price in 38 seconds, which is awesome. He's one of the best to ever do it. Just brings it every single time. Just a dog. Just an absolute dog. The co-main, Brandon Moreno and Alessandro Pantoja. I think Pantoja thought he was just going to come out, and it really showed a lack of understanding of how his opponent had developed. He won the fight, and I believe he did win the fight, but there was a lot of just back control and him not doing anything. And this is part of the game that just frustrates me. And he was doing it because he was tired. He ran out of fucking gas in the second round. He had never been even 4 rounds, much less 5. Moreno, who has a gas tank and is just a savage. I don't think he's fought less than 5 rounds, in the last 2 years. So I would like to see that change. I mean, I know you get points for that, But if you're not doing anything, if you're not, you know, at least throwing rabbit punches, if you're not trying to go for submissions, you know, but just a war. I mean, Pantoja flicked a switch to his credit in the third round, because he looked like he was out on his feet. He really did. But he's also one of these guys that the minute he understands, and I guess it's a good game plan, I like to see guys stand and bang, unless it's two grapplers. He understood that he couldn't stand with Moreno, so he started, you know, taking him down, and he did so pretty much at will. Moreno did a good job of scrambling, but I think it was at least 3-2 Pantoja, and I think probably 4-1 Pantoja. So, and in the main event, Volk showed us why he is the fucking king at 145. Took one of the most dangerous strikers in all of MMA, Yair Rodriguez. Creative, wild, and he showed us just how first of all, Volk is a tank. He is an absolute tank. And for those of you that haven't seen it, he used to weigh 300 pounds, close to 300 pounds when he played rugby. The guy's 5'8". And to drop over, you know, a couple of years to 145, you're still going to gain that strength. And I think him fighting Makhachev in his last fight, he said when he left the ring, he lost the fight. I think he probably won it, but they're pushing Makhachev, and, you know, Dana pushes who he wants to push, and that's what it is. But the 145 weight class is thoroughly fucked. Like, I don't see anybody beating this guy. He took one of the most dangerous strikers in the division, if not in the world, and just fucking ragdolled him. Just made him look like a bitch. And my wife actually watched the fights with me last night at the theater, and I told her, I'm like, you could be the best striker in the world. If you're on your fucking back, you're just a turtle. And just, I mean, was picking him up and just throwing his ass around like he was, you know, me, like somebody who was completely untrained. So he is head and shoulders the king, and at this point, I call him the best pound for pound in the world, because he is just, I mean, walking through motherfuckers. And he's almost cleaned out the division. I mean, I don't know who he fights next. Ilia Topuria, I think, maybe, but Topuria's got to have one more fight before he gets a crack at the big dog. So, all in all, just an outstanding card, man. Really, really good. Can't wait to see what they got coming next. Also, side note, GSP is coming back in December to grapple. It's on Fight Pass. I don't have Fight Pass, but I will definitely watch that. Y'all be cool. I'm out.